Now Lois and I are heading up a Forest Service road here to the trail that leads up to Anderson Butte and Watson Lakes. Starting off here with a shot off the road. Mount Baker and the Washboard National Forest Service road, and a bee attacking me. And drove the pickup up here. It was a little bit too rough, I think, for bringing the Mazda. But anyway, just a quick pan around here of this particular viewpoint, and we'll head on up to the trailhead and start doing a little footage from the trail once we get up there. Well, this is the reason why there's so many flies in the area, because there's so many flowers in the area. Took a little side jaunt off the main trail going up to Anderson Butte, but I don't know if you can see it, but there's like a bumblebee on every flower here. It's just swarming with bees and flies. The interesting thing is, when you're standing next to these flowers, most of the flies are leaving you alone, and they're all busy munching on the plant life, I guess. But anyway, I thought it'd be a good time to take a break and get my breath back and just take a little bit of a shot from what you can see. This is on the downhill side, and hopefully exposure is working a little here. Anyway, this side we came up, and darn flies are biting me. Sorry for pointing the camera screwball again. Every time a fly gets on you while you're trying to take a footage, you get yourself bitten. Anyway, put a little deed on, keep the flies away as much as possible. Top of the first saddle at the viewpoint here, going up the Anderson Butte trail. The butte is up to the right, and I guess you could try to climb that, but it's not in the game plan today. A lot of snow-capped peaks, though, looking east towards the northeast Cascade Range here. And the trail will continue up a little higher here. Once I get up to another little spot, we can probably take some pictures of a couple of the main northern peaks here, you know, Mount Baker and Shuckskin. So just hang in there and watch for the next section of the footage here. Okay, yeah, this is up above where the trail breaks out. It broke out right there at the top of the saddle. And again, just another little 180 view here. A little bit better angle on some of this. Once again, I'm going to have to figure out what some of these peaks are. A little bit of clouds covering that one, unfortunately. And we'll just swing around, and it looks like the trail climbs up to this point where I'll stop and take another 30 seconds or so. More in a second. I'll just shoot a little bit here as I'm walking up, see what pops into view as we're shooting. And there's Mount Baker. Heading on down there, and finally got up to the point here. Time for lunch. Good little spot for a view while you eat. And you can see one of the lakes right below there, smaller lake, hopefully. And let me zoom in here. There it is. Very nice view from up here. I guess it's worth the hike. It's only about 1.8 miles up to this point from the parking lot and the trailhead. So good little short hike. Works up a little bit of sweat. You know, there's some switchbacks. It's kind of steep in a few places, but it's a good little place to just take a day hike and come up and have a nice view, a nice lunch on a nice July 21st in this case. And yeah, not even quite as many bugs up here, thank God. Once you get out in the sun here and a little bit of a breeze, it helps. What it looks like from the very point where you can sit and have lunch, like I was saying. This is heading basically due east, maybe a little southeast. And still some snow up here, even towards the end of July. So, perfect time to be up on this particular trail. It's only about 4,000 feet here, by the way. I think the elevation gains, I have to check it, but I think the elevation gains about 1,000 feet to get up to this point. Guess we better take a couple snapshots and add them in here. Just never can tell, you might get a snapshot that's worth framing. Just noticed it as the haze kind of cleared while I was sitting up here. See if I can get the camera to... It's going to be really hard to see if the exposure's off here on this darn video camera, but anyway, that's where it's supposed to be on a good day with a clear view and no clouds. So most of the major peaks from Mount Rainier North from up here. Yeah, more later. Gonna do a retake on that one. At first I thought this might be Mount Rainier, but it might not be. It's hard telling. I'll have to put a caption here if I figure out which mountain that is. But it's due south off the point here. And there's also another range of high mountain snow-capped peaks. Let's see if I can get a line on them too and put a caption in. Hopefully you can see them. Hopefully the exposure's working good here. Anytime there's darker foreground and lighter background, this camera has a hard time figuring out the exposure. I don't have a manual override for it, so unfortunately it's very difficult to get stuff like this. I'm going to have to get myself a better camera, there's no doubt about it. Anyway, again, more later.